Okay, let us begin. Good morning, everybody. May all beings be happy and secure. May all beings have happy minds. Whatever living beings there may be, without exception, weak or strong, long, large, medium, short, subtle or gross, visible or invisible, living near or far, born or coming to birth. May all beings have happy minds. Let no one deceive another, nor despise anyone anywhere. Neither from anger nor ill will should anyone wish harm to another. As a mother would risk her own life to protect her only child, even so towards all living beings, one should cultivate a boundless heart. One should cultivate for all the world a heart of boundless living friendliness, above, below, and all around, unobstructed, without hatred or resentment, whether standing, walking, sitting, lying down, or whenever awake. One should develop this mindfulness. This is called divinely dwelling here, not falling into erroneous views, but virtuous and endowed with vision, removing desires for sensual pleasures. One comes never again to birth in the womb. With this metta thought, let us continue our practice. We, as usual, focus our mind on our breathing. Notice inhaling as inhaling, exhaling as exhaling, touching the breath, touching the breath touching our nostrils as we breathe in, expanding our chest area and abdominal area. While breathing out, we notice abdominal area contracts, chest area contracts, the breath leaves the breath nostrils, and then also we notice feeling arising and passing, perception arising and passing, thought arising and passing, consciousness arising and passing, along with our breath, even much faster than that. And then when the mind, all these registered in the mind, then the mind would not try to hold on to anything that is rising and falling constantly. Then the greed or desire for anything fades away. Then the body relaxes, the breath relaxes, mind relaxes in the relaxed state of mind, body, and the breath. Metta feeling arises and resentment fades away because there is no uptightness, rigidity, or resentment. And then, as metta arises, we also see our restlessness and worry fades away as karuna, compassion, begins to activate. When compassion is there, the thought of cruelty or restlessness, worry fades away. And then we notice we get extra energy to continue our practice without any laziness. And that also fades, helps the sleepiness and drowsiness to fade away. And then seeing all this, we get more energy. And then our doubt with regard to the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, and the dependent origination, also doubt about our own success in the practice vanishes because we see the results in our own experience, so doubt fades away. Thus, when greed, resentment, restlessness and worry, sleepiness and drowsiness, and doubt fade away, there arises a moment of joy which increases by degrees, leading to happiness. When happiness arises, mind becomes more tranquil, calm, peaceful, that leads to concentration. This is a sequel, a practice or sequence that takes place, and this also is very reasonable. When we gain concentration also is not some dead log. It is a state where the mind is sharp, clear, to see the subtlest changes taking place. Subtlest changes, I mean, impermanence in the subtlest form. Whatever tiny, minutest things arise, and at the same moment they pass away. Normally we don't see this happening, only mind is concentrated, can we experience it, notice it. Then our notion of self or permanent something vanishes from our mind. So let us try to see this happening in our own, during our own meditation. Dukkha cha nidukkha Bhaya cha nibhaya Soka cha nisoka Hontu sabbe pipanino. May the suffering be free from suffering. May the fear struck be free from fear. May the grieving be free from grief. So too may all beings be. With this metta thought in mind, let us try to focus our mind on the Dhamma talk as we are on Mahasatipatthana Sutta. We have dealt with roughly three foundations already: mindfulness of the body, mindfulness of feelings, mindfulness of the mind. Now, today we want to start with the mindfulness of hindrances. Hindrances, I think most of our meditators, especially Vipassana meditators, know that there are 5 hindrances. There can be many, but all of them we can put under these 5 hindrances. Hindrances, as you all understand the English word, is that mental state which blocks our progress, our development, our awareness, and they block our mindfulness. Since they are obstacle to the development of our mind, they are called hindrances. Now, just as we mentioned day before yesterday, even yesterday, the mind is always not full of these hindrances. They occasionally they appear, and we must deal with them as they appear, neither before nor after. So the Buddha gave us 5 steps to deal with each of these 5 hindrances. It is very interesting. Hindrances are 5. The way we deal with them also are 5 for each hindrance. For instance, we sit to meditate or we do certain things, uh, try to be fully engaged in those things. And since we had many experiences in our life through our 6 senses, suddenly one of them becomes active. That is, say we have seen some beautiful objects or heard sound, smell very pleasant aroma of something, and remember a taste or remember the touch, and or remember the thoughts we had in the past, beautiful thoughts. Suppose they all are pleasant. Normally we remember either very, very pleasant things or very, very unpleasant things. Neutral things we don't even pay attention to them. We just ignore them. But these two appear. So, suppose greed arises. Suppose the mind there is no greed. So we know uh, that there is greed as the hindrance which blocks our practice. So when we have it, all of a sudden, we recognize it, identify it, we become aware of it. Now, greed is in me. Greed is in me. If the greed is not there, now step number one is greed is in me. Number one. I said there are 5 steps, 5 moments to deal with them. First thing is that uh, there is no greed. Number one, we become aware of it. Then the greed arises in the mind. Then we become aware of it. Then we work hard using fourfold effort to get rid of it. Then the greed, that is the third step. Then that greed, after using fourfold effort, that greed fades away. Now that is the fourth stage. Fifth stage is the greed that is gone from our mind, disappeared, does not return again during that time. These are the 5 steps. The if you remember the Pali, asantang ajatang kamachandam natime ajatang kamachandoti pajanati. Santang ajatang kamachandam atime ajatang kamachandoti pajanati. Anuppannasa kamachandas uppado hoti tancha pajanati. Uppannasa kamachandas pahanang hoti tancha pajanati. Pahinasa kamachanda, I think anuppado hoti tancha pajanati. That santang va ajhatang kamachandang attime ajhatang, when the desire is in you, recognize that it is there. If it is not, that's the number one. If it is not there, recognize that. Then if it arises, recognize that. When you deal with it using your fourfold effort, it disappears, then it disappears. That's the fourth step. The fifth step is what that desire which is gone, disappeared, does not come back again. 5 steps. Then we use the same step, 5 steps for ill will. There is a second hindrance. Then we use the same step for the third one, sloth and torpor. We use the same thing for restlessness and worry. That is the 4. The fifth is skeptical doubt. These are the 5 hindrances. So each of them we deal with in these 5 ways. So, for instance, the mind is such a tricky state. It hunts for sensual pleasure. Look for sensual pleasure because we all are pleasure-oriented people. We love pleasure. We live in the pleasure world, the kama loka. We are surrounded by pleasure. And pleasure arises in 60 places. So there is no escape. The pleasure is always there, just like air around us. it, it is almost difficult to avoid it. Either through the eyes, ears, nose, and so forth, they are already conditioned to have pleasure. So mind is looking for that kind of pleasure. And therefore we would lose interest in meditation. Who wants to sit in one place focusing mind on the breath? This is not our usual way of dealing with our life. We have so many things. As soon as you open, we rush to the kitchen and grab some piece of cake or while a cookie or chocolate or something, and nibble something, a peanut or cashew nut or something. We pick and nibble and put in the mouth because we like that pleasure to have this taste. So you lose interest in meditation, and that is how the, the sensual pleasure which was not in the mind, how it this is how it arises. Um, so our sensual eyes look for something sensual in the world that prevent our concentration. Then we become lost interest in collection, in recollection, and so anticipation about food, in anticipation in food, or a possession of something, or thinking of our holiday, our vacation, remembering our telephone calls, remembering our friends, the time we spend with our friends. So many intriguing, tricky things come to our mind. As soon as it comes, the meditation goes haywire. So you recognize it and immediately use the fourfold effort to let go of it. When it's gone, you know, now I can sit down and meditate. If it comes back again, deal with it again, and so forth. Keep trying again and again and again to let go of this particular hindrance. Now you can see how it hinders your practice. Okay, assume that you have dealt with that. Assume. Then meditation itself is not that we, as I mentioned, we always do, most people. Therefore, meditation itself can create some resentment because you are trying, nothing in the horizon. Nothing you don't seem to have any, making any progress. You see, I am in sort of in a plateau, no directions. My progress is not, I am not the right person perhaps to meditate, and so forth. You get resentment. You have resentment, disappointment, or uh, painful experience. Of course, sitting in one place and meditation is not easy, or focusing mind on something and doing that repeatedly with mindfulness is not easy. Uh, so when this happens, it is very difficult to let go. Uh, you simply want to perhaps reenact of the things that you have done in the past. Like you might think, I wish uh, I have said or done such and such. Uh, we can be consumed by negative mental state, negative feelings also may manifest as ill will towards oneself or towards the kind of guilt or towards certain persons, towards certain situations, at least towards the government or the leader of the government, something like that. So when I also want to, I forgot to mention, when the greed arises, mind is very cluttered, confused, you cannot continue your practice. It is similar, it is compared to the mind or water with all kind, mixed with all kind of colors. Mind, mind is like color dyed with various types of colors. When the water is mixed with various colors, you cannot see the water. You see the color. Uh, so you similarly, when the desire arises, greed arises, you are not interested in meditation because meditation is not so boring. You go after this desire. Uh, Similarly, when you have a desire, you lose interest in the way, just like when there is water is colored with various type of colors, you like those colors and you go after the color. Similarly, when desire arises, you go after the desire. And similarly, uh, when the mind is full of anger, resentment, it is just like boiling water. Or boiling water is you cannot touch or you cannot see the bottom of that water because it is bubbling. Or when the mind is full of resentment or anger, it is like sickness. When you are sick, no matter how much delicious, your most favorite food is given to you, you may find it tasteless, bland, because your taste buds are not healthy. Similarly, when the mind is full of resentment, anger, no matter how good the object is, a person or situation and so on, there may be nothing is always bad or nothing is always good. Every bad thing, there are beautiful things. Every good thing, there may be some unpleasant things. And yet you don't see when you are upset, you don't see the good of the other person. Uh, Even the medicine you take, even the medicine you take can cure yourself, but still you hate the medicine because your mind is not in a right state. So when anger arises, the mind works like that. Therefore, uh, we have to get rid of it using those four effort to prevent, that is called Samvara Padana, effort to overcome, that is called Pahana Padana, effort to develop, that is called Bhavana Padana, and effort to sustain, maintain that wholesome state that's called Anurakkhana Padana, protection, maintaining that wholesome state. These fourfold efforts you can find in the Four Noble Eightfold Path. Noble Eightfold Path right understanding, right thought, right speech, right action, right livelihood. Number 6 in the Noble Eightfold Path is fourfold effort. That's called pradhana. So we have to use this fourfold effort each time a hindrance arises. Any negative mental state arises. Then we have the third hindrance. I'm going through this very quickly because if I were to deal with all of them in detail, it will take much longer time. Perhaps you can find examples from your own experience in your own life. I simply give you the outline. The number 3 is sloth and torpor, sleepiness and drowsiness. Uh, if you did not have good sleep at night, next day when you try to meditate, you cannot meditate because body is very tired. Or if you have food in the stomach and try to meditate, you cannot meditate. You feel sleepy. Or if the even if the conditions in your room is very comfortable, cushion is comfortable, air condition is working properly, heat is very agreeable, good temperature you have, clothes you are wearing okay, all everything you have done in the past also you have forgotten, and now you are very comfortable, that also can put you to sleep. And therefore, this doesn't mean that you want to have a very rough cushion, rough rock to sit and so forth. But these are the conditions that can make you sleepy or drowsy. Or you sometimes you see it is generally you are lazy. It is cold, you don't want to meditate. It is hot, therefore you don't want to meditate, and so forth. You give various excuses. These excuses also make you lazy and drowsy and don't want to meditate. So, so heaviness of the body, heaviness of the mind is called sleepiness and drowsiness. That would drift your mind away from the practice. You are not you will not be able to focus your mind on the subject because it is boring. You are sleepy. Uh, Even if you relax too much, that also can fall you to sleep. Uh, so the practice become very difficult. So such a person uh, must try to understand the simile. The simile that the Buddha has given is a simile of the state of mind like having a lake with what do stagnant lake which is covered with weeds or moss, and you cannot see clear water. Similarly, when the mind is cluttered with sleepiness and drowsiness, you cannot see the clear mind. Normally, this mind is luminous. That luminosity, clarity, purity, you cannot see when mind is sleepy, you are sleepy and drowsy. So you have to use again those fourfold effort. Sometimes it is practical for you to open your eyes, roll your eyeballs, and then close, or take deep breath and hold it for a while and repeat it many times. Take a deep breath, hold as long as you can, and slowly breathe out. Again, take a deep breath, hold it as long as you like, You can. When you do this several times, your body will be warmed up and you may even perspire. Your sleepiness will disappear. Or you may stand up and do standing meditation, or you may do walking meditation, or you may wash your face with cold water. Do something like this to overcome your sleepiness. When the sleepiness is gone, uh, restlessness and worry can arise. These both of these mental states also is blocking your progress. Uh, you you are always moving. You're rigid. You're always fidgety, uh, coughing, scratching here and there. Uh, you want to leave the practice, leave the situation to situation. So you don't have a calmness in your mind. With this state, most of the time, this state is called monkey mind. Uh, Restlessness. That is how it is. Uh, it is simile is just like waves in the water. When you drop throw a rock or something into the water, then water keep always moving. Or when wind blows, it moves. So restlessness and worry is like this. Uh, Feeling of indecisiveness. The mind is always vacillating here and there with aimlessly. This is the state. So that state also is harmful to your progress, make your practice difficult. The last of these five hindrances is the skeptical doubt. Doubt in the Buddha's teaching is something not bad. When you have doubt, you can ask questions and then get them clarified. That is encouraged. That's a good thing. But if you have a skeptical doubt, skeptics normally don't are not satisfied with any answer you give. They while trying to answer while you're answering that person's question, he would not be interested in your answer. He would be thinking of the next question. When you answer that question, he would be thinking of the next question. He doesn't want to take your answer as answer to his question. So that kind of doubt, when arises in the mind, also you cannot practice meditation. Uh, it is just like water with clouded with mud. Uh, so you have to have a clear purpose in your mind in order to overcome your doubt. At the beginning of this series of talks on Satipatthana, I mentioned fivefold purpose why we meditate. We meditate to overcome grief and sorrow and lamentation. We meditate to put ourselves, overcome our resentment and anger, to put ourselves on the right path, that means noble eightfold path, and to attain liberation. These are the purposes. So whenever you have doubt, you go back to your purpose and recall your purpose and then try to achieve those purposes. As I mentioned, every day, when you gain concentration, the mind becomes clear. With that clear state of mind, you can see the purposes more clearly. So this is how we have to deal with these hindrances, and I hope I roughly covered all the five hindrances. So we have to move on. And next time I say take the next category of Dhammanupassana, mindfulness of the Dhamma. Dhammanupassana or mindfulness of Dhamma, establishment of mindfulness of Dhamma, also divided into five categories, five groups. This is group number one, that is hindrances. There are four other categories which we will deal in turn, taking one category at a time to focus on it. So, with this, friends, I want to end this morning's talk, and once again want to wish all those who are suffering to be free from suffering. uh, and also, we want to share our memories with another friend, especially friend of Brian, uh, who passed away very young. His name is Alex Costillanos. He passed away at his home in Chicago last week. So he came to know about his death only yesterday, and we all want to share our metta with his family and wish them to be free from grief, since he was very young and passed away. So definitely his relatives and friends may be very sad. We want to send our metta for them to be relieved from their grief and liberate themselves from samsaric suffering. Especially Alex, who passed away, we want to wish him not to have this kind of untimely death in samsaric existence. There are many people who are suffering in hospitals. May they be free from suffering, recover from their ailments very quickly, return to normal life. There are doctors and nurses and hospital staffs who are taking care of these patients. May they continue their compassionate service, and of course we wish them never get this virus themselves, because they are doing very risky job, and so we want to wish them not to get this virus any time. And there are many of our friends who other friends whose relatives have passed away, and they may be grieving, and we want them to be free from that grief and return to normal health. And then many leaders who have been trying very hard to take care of people in their own way, and some of them have been successful, and may they continue their very generous, open-hearted attitude. Other leaders who also are leading, but they probably have not found any way to help these people effectively. So we want them also to have patience, courage, understanding, and wisdom to make right decision to to curtail this sickness. With all these things, I want to wish you peace.